Good morning, everyone from Australia. Good afternoon and good evening to those of you overseas, particularly in the United States. So, I am hopping on today with Jessica Smith to talk all about what does a healthy relationship look like. This is a topic I really felt called to talk about, especially because a lot of my clients have come to me before saying, I don't think I really know what a healthy relationship even looks like, feels like, and it can be quite a depressing, even painful thought process to have, because we can be like, well, if there's no one else out there that's healthy, well then what's the point of even being in a relationship? Like, what's this all for? So anyways, without further ado, Jessica and I are going to hop on now and talk about it, and we're going to get straight into this right away. So super excited to talk with her today all about this topic. And hello everyone. Hello Brian, hope you're doing well. Hey Zaid. And hello Jessica, how are you?
Great, Ken. How are you?
I have to say, I have been building in excitement to talk with you again, because
Good.
I loved our first live and I was just like, I need to just chat with you again because it was so much fun the first time.
Oh, thank you. Likewise. I've been so excited to see you again and to do another live with you and discuss more needed, powerful, interesting topics with you.
Well, what more of a powerful topic than what does a healthy relationship look like? Because as I was just rambling off in the introduction to this video, I don't know about you, but I have had so many people come to me, including my clients, being like, Ken, what even is a healthy relationship? I've had so much unhealthy. What is even healthy supposed to be? So I'd love to hear, Jessica, maybe before we start with the healthy, what's our definition of the unhealthy?
Ah, that's a great question. Well, real quick, I want to acknowledge those people who are asking that question and let them know that they are not alone, that there are a lot of people that have asked themselves that same question and are going to be watching this now and go, wow, actually, I don't know what a healthy relationship looks like. And I never took the time to think about it, because so often we're just like, yeah, we want a good relationship, but we don't know what that looks like. So I love that we're putting words to it today. So to answer your question, what does an unhealthy relationship look like? It looks like this. It looks like a lot of, wow. Do I want to go from the perspective of the person, or generally what it looks like from
Ooh.
the outside? Huh?
We can have a bit of fun with this because, you could take it from the perspective of what it's like to be in one. You could take it from the perspective of being an observer too.
Okay.
And there are degrees of unhealthy, don't you think? Because
Oh, absolutely.
you can go into like as we discussed last time, the emotionally unavailable, the hot and cold avoidance, to the extremely narcissistic. So take your pick of the pie.
All right, great. Um, well, when you are in an unhealthy relationship, a lot of times your needs are not being met. Your emotional needs, your physical needs, your intellectual needs. So, what that looks like on the microcosm is you're talking and somebody's not listening. You're expressing yourself and it's either being negated or going unacknowledged, um, perhaps falling on deaf ears. Perhaps someone is making you feel bad for your thoughts and feelings. Um, you're not having good sex. You're not having sex. Let's see. You're feeling alone, even though you're in a relationship. Um, there's just so many. I'm just picking little things that come to my head right now. You're fighting a lot.
Mm.
That's a big one. You're annoyed. Maybe you're just constantly like, what the freak? Like, why are they doing this? Why are they not doing that? Like, I don't understand. Um, Gosh, I want to hear a couple of yours, and I think we could just keep going. We can put the whole puzzle together with our different pieces.
I'm glad you said the puzzle because I've got a few pieces over here that I'm just willing to just put onto yours. So this is going to work out well. All right. So some of the ones that I have identified too. So I love everything you said and I agree with all of them. To add to your pieces, I would say when you're in an unhealthy relationship, and I even include in a dating situationship where you may not be official, is you have got a gut of anxiety and you think it's butterflies. You get that fluttering in your stomach, which you've had since the beginning, and it's just accumulated, grown, and now it's becoming overthinking. And you're like, where is this going? Where are they? Who are they with? And do they still even love me? And it's crazy because you and your brain are going to be going back and forth between events. You'll be going back to the first date being like, oh, but it was so amazing when we were there together with this person. Why aren't they communicating regularly when they said they really liked me, they wanted to be with me? I mean, you have to kind of silence your brain and go back to your gut and be like, how are you feeling right now? Because if it isn't a good
Mm-hmm.
feeling, then that's your answer. So anyways, that's a
That's
really
right.
dead, that's like a dead giveaway. But then
Dead
if you
giveaway.
but then I think when you're outside of that situationship, when it's really now becoming a very chronically unhealthy relationship, like when you're dating a narcissist, and you may not even be aware of what that is. So the feelings are more pronounced. You will feel a pit in your stomach. You're also constantly on the lookout for, you know, when something's going to trigger and set them off. You're almost like tiptoeing around them. So that expression,
Mm-hmm.
stepping on eggshells, becomes really pronounced. And to add to that, you also feel as though you've got to say certain things because you know if you mention money, if you mention an ex, it's going to be all hell in the entire environment that you're in. And so as a result, you become hyper vigilant. You're still stressed. You're really worried about what could go wrong. And then it's really weird because then you'll have like these moments of romance where it's like, oh, this person's really nice to me right now. Like, is something the matter? Like, how did we get here? You'll start questioning, you know, why this person's being so nice to you, why it suddenly flipped from being punishing to pleasure. And those at times you may be getting your physical needs met, you may be getting your financial needs met, you may be getting, you know, a lot of material out of this relationship and even a sense of, you know, safety with a roof over your head. You do not feel safe. You often are pushing that stuff down because you're trying to think, well, you know, isn't this what it's supposed to be like? Like all relationships have their problems, right? No, not all relationships have that problem. They are unfortunately the majority, but that is not
Mm-hmm.
what we should be putting up with. So they're my pieces to the puzzle.
Love those pieces, and I want to talk about some of those pieces. And um, something that you mentioned was a feeling. And I was talking to a therapist who specializes in working with narcissists, and she told me that the body will tell you what's wrong, usually before your brain will tell you what's wrong.
Hmm.
And I thought that was so powerful because, well, for many reasons, because that's a great indicator. Because so often, our heart gets involved, and when our heart's talking, it can be like, "I love this person, I'm attracted to this person, I want to be with this person, they're my person," and la la la, and our heart will just, chime in and have its opinion, and our body is so connected with our intuition and also to our past conditioning and our experiences and our ego, and when I say ego, I don't mean it in the negative sense. I mean like in the protector sense, like
Hmm.
the intelligent part of the ego that's like, we've done this before, we're not going to do it again, I'm going to protect you. So the body is the first to chime in and send out those warning signals. So if it's anxiety, if it's how you mentioned, like the butterflies, like the um like your stomach is in knots,
Hmm.
or if your heart feels like there's pain in your heart, like a tightness, yeah, your body will speak loud and clear, and you really need to listen to those signals and those messages and those sensations, because it's intuition. It's also it's also your part of the brain that is connected onto your emotional it's the emotional part of the brain that's connected with past traumas, and it's all mixed together. So it's so important to listen to those bodily sensations, because they're gonna tell you a lot.
Oh, yeah. I thoroughly agree with you. And I think it's hard to connect with that for many of us because the reason we get into these relationships in the first place is often because we have been groomed in an environment where we've had to push down our emotions, to ignore our intuition, because this is very common language in a family where it's done this. You know, if you come to a parent figure and be like, I'm really, upset, I'm really in a lot of pain, I'm really angry, embarrassed, shamed about X, Y, Z, you might get the response, you shouldn't have those emotions. You're wrong for thinking the way you do. Why are you crying? Like, don't cry. And so you're constantly invalidated for having the emotions and reactions that you have to certain things. So you then begin to think to yourself, oh, okay, well, I shouldn't be reacting the way I am. So naturally, when you're in these relationships where they are toxic and they are unhealthy, usually we're ignoring the bodily, responses because we've been told, oh, we're wrong to have those feelings. It's weird to have those intuition, responses to this environment. Let's just continue ignoring it. But then it just continues to build up like the weight of a volcano about to erupt, and you just can't help it. And I know that for many people, what they often go through is a stage of real wonder at the beginning to like real feelings of absolute lust, love, honeymoon phase feelings, to
Love
then
those
going through,
feelings.
yeah, those feelings are fantastic. But boy, oh boy, if you're in a bad relationship, watch it go to a 180 real quick because you'll just be like, what the hell happened? We were up here. Well, surely I can get it back up there again. And then over time, you're just worn down, and it's just a slow physiological, psychological death where you're just pulled so much as you strain to try and bring that relationship back to a place where you think it was. But
Hmm.
unfortunately, it was never there to begin with. It was all just an act, unfortunately. And so, and I think that even includes, partners who may not necessarily be narcissists, but people who are emotionally unavailable, like they have those avoidant patterns of behavior. You know, there is a lot of struggle to connect with those people when they don't want to do the work on themselves. I love what you said last time, which is we're the ones who go to therapy because we're dealing with the people who won't. And so I think it's really a matter of how much resentment and how much suffering are you willing to put up with in this mix? And if you do have to put up with that, I mean, I'm no psychologist, but I'm willing to diagnose that and call it a bad relationship.
Oh, I agree. And one of my friends who I've had on my show, she's a matchmaker in New York, and her and I were talking one day about bad relationships, and she's like, we all have choices, and why would one choose to be with someone that doesn't make them feel good? And it was so basic and it was so powerful. It's like, with the billions of people in the world, why do we often choose to be with people that don't make us feel good?
Hmm.
And I would go back to the physical stuff.
Oh, Jessica, I can't hear you now. I think there might be something wrong. Nah, I still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we're all good. Sorry,
Okay,
please
good.
keep going. I was so excited by what you were
Okay.
about to say.
Okay, so I want to touch on the physicality again because and the feelings.
Mm.
And you and I have talked about this before, and how you mentioned now that having feelings is not accepted in this society, right? If it's feelings of displeasure or if it's feelings of loving someone, feelings get poo-pooed in this culture. And how I was saying before, that our feelings show up as bodily sensations. So where we can turn kind of turn it on its head with these feelings and the physicality and bring it all together. So bear with me. Feelings are poo-pooed, yet what is not poo-pooed and what's put on a pedestal in our culture is hooking up, having sex. It's so physical. And so if we can just turn this around a little bit and say, hey, let's really tune into the body. You know, if we're so freaking obsessed with sex in our bodies, all right, let's do it. Feel into your body. What are you feeling? Oh, you're feeling like a pit in your stomach when you think about this person. Your jaw is tightening. You know, you're feeling breathless. You know, they're like, tap into your body, feel your body, and then say, why am I feeling this way? Oh, well, I'm feeling tension in my jaw because I'm holding back, because I'm not able to speak up, because I'm walking on eggshells in this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And we can start to then assign emotion to the bodily sensations, and then behaviors and actions, and we could start to put all the pieces together. So I just wanted to offer that up to everyone watching.
I loved what you just said so much, because I think that there is so much truth that you can get out of that too from our body. You know, as you were talking about that, I think one of your community members, Oceanfish94, raised a really good point that related to exactly what you said, which is, how do you recommend as a general rule an individual separate which emotions are okay to dwell in or be more aware of, and which ones are okay to move on from? I freaking love that. And I know for me, as a way of answering that, I actually created a intuition bank in my journal because I wanted to assign meaning to some feelings. So going on the pit in the stomach, I'm like, oh, bad person, back away. And then if it was something like, say, if I could feel like a general sense of excitement that was coming from my chest and also from my gut, I was like, pursue this, but be mindful that this may not be forever. This may just be a necessary lesson to learn, something to grow from, but not necessarily forever. Because I think we often assign initial excitement to be like, oh, it's love, but I found the one. It's like, no, take your brain out of this. Just focus on this feeling for now. That's important. And then another one too is, this is a powerful one, exhaustion. You know, we often underestimate this, but if you get a little bit tired at the thought of a partner that you're about to see or someone, that says everything you need to know. You're not interested or invested in this person. So really take that into account. So I think my broad summary is, if it's an emotion that brings you a sense of joy and happiness, you know, reflect on that and be like, oh, okay, in my world, I like to pursue that because it's good. But if it's an emotion which I would say gives you anxiety, depression, exhaustion, boredom, you know, really work through the emotion and be like, what is the meaning behind this, and what do I need to take away from this in order to get to my next action? Because I think in my experience, I've seen a lot of us, including me, stick to our brain being like, oh, what are they doing? Where are they at? And getting into that overthinking rumination, that does us no good. I think the minute you tap into your body, that's when everything becomes a lot clearer. What are your thoughts on that, Jessica?
I agree with that. And those emotions are coming up for a purpose, and really working with those emotions and being an observer of them. You know, we are often terrible judges of ourselves, first of all. Second of all, like you said, we can get stuck in our heads and, you know, we start to think our way through. And it's like, whoa. First of all, any sensation that is coming up requires acknowledgement. You are feeling something. I just want to say to everyone, you are precious, you are important, and everything that you're feeling is okay. And we don't need to poo-poo it, shame it, judge it, hate it, whatever. Let it come up and then work with it. And what I do often with myself and with my clients is we talk to it. You know, I'll sit with myself, and if I'm sitting, like maybe I'm thinking about a guy and my heart is clenching and I just feel like tightness right there in like my chest bone or pains in my heart. I'm like, okay, honey, whew, okay, heart, like, what are you telling me right now? Well, I'm not feeling safe right now. I'm excited about this person, but there's something in me that just feels a little scared. Okay, why do you feel scared? Well, I feel scared because he's been acting like this and he's been doing that. Okay, keep going. And if you just sit down and have a little conversation, you'll uncover a lot. And then a lot of times those physical sensations will diminish and the beautiful rational brain will click on, and then you can work with that and you could start to decipher things. Then you could say,
Yes.
okay, oh, he's fearful, avoidant. Oh, okay. And then, and that's when, I talked about this on our last live, that we can take all those parts of ourselves, the rational brain, the physical body, the intuition, the heart, and we can start to use them as a total team working on behalf of our person, ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that exercise you shared last time too, because it was so perfect, because that's when you're allowing your brain to interpret your gut. It's kind of going, brain, stop.
Yeah.
What is everything, well, like what's going on in the rest of the body? Can we interpret the feelings first, then take action from there? Because this is the trap. When many of us are operating out of fight or flight, which is unfortunately the majority of us, when we're stressed out, we're busy at work, we're doing all kinds of crazy things to stay afloat with what we're doing, we don't listen to our gut because we're often also numb to our emotions. We don't want to talk about them. In a culture, as you said, where we poo-poo our emotions, why the hell am I going to listen to my anxiety when I can win this guy that I'm seeing, or girl, and, try and impress them even further? And I don't want to show that I'm needy, even though I'm feeling hella needy right now. And so we really need to honor our physiology, as you said, like allow ourselves to do a very tough thing, which is to pause and go, okay, how am I feeling right now in my body? And what is my reaction from that to take action? And you mentioned something so pivotal just a minute ago when you said, I'm not feeling safe. Well, that I think neatly brings us to what a healthy relationship looks, or more importantly, feels like, which is safety. I cannot stress how important that emotion is to us on such a psychological and physiological level, because when you're with people who make you feel safe, that you can show up, you can be vulnerable with, you can just have deep conversations with, you might have a bit of anxiety around setting boundaries, but they're never going to blow up at you. Oh boy, then you've hit the jackpot.
Oh, yes. A question that I often give my clients, ask my clients, I ask myself this, is this a safe place to put my heart? When we ask that question, that tells all right there. I was first presented with this question from one of my mentors years ago when I was involved with this guy. And I was like, I don't know what to do because he did this and I did this. And I was just all confused and I was all in my head and I couldn't make sense of it. And she says, is this a safe place to put your heart? Instantly, I was like, no, hell no. No, what am I even doing here? And it just shifted everything right away. And when we talk about intuition, our intuition, so a lot of people will ask, well, how do you identify what's your intuition and what's your normal talk going on in your heads? And because, we're always talking, it's one of the human afflictions. Our brain is always going. And so how do you decipher between those two voices? And this is how intuition often comes in, and it's like, bam, it's like a neon light in your face. And it'll say like, not safe, don't like this person, this isn't good. And I love how earlier you were talking about us being distracted. There's so much. We get distracted by people's beauty, we get distracted by their charm, we get distracted by the voices in our head, we get, there's a lot of things to get distracted by. And so our intuition, I believe everyone has an intuition. Everybody is getting signals, and it's just a matter of how open we are. And you know, you will feel in your body. You will get a booming voice in your head when it's not safe to put your heart with this person.
I so agree with you. Could not agree more. And I think to add to that too, I'd actually dare say safety is a more important quality to look out for in a person than chemistry. Because more often than not, the first date, so many people are like, oh, I look for chemistry in a partner. I want to make sure they're exciting. I want to know I can have a good conversation with them. I want to make sure that they can fill out all the boxes that I have for them to, be part of my lifestyle. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
You can have all of that, but are you safe with that person? Because, like I said, you can be hooked on the chemistry. As you said, distracted by their body, their beauty, their wit, their brain, their this, their that. But how are they treating you? How do they make you feel? And it can be such a painful experience to have the rug pulled out underneath your feet. But if you just allow the chemistry to be the thing that keeps you there, I mean, at the end of the day, that's not what's going to help you in the long run in a relationship. There's a reason why I think the word healthy is so critical to when we talk about relationships. Just the other day, I made a post where I said to choose the wrong partner is way too high. Like, if you choose the wrong partner to be with, oh boy, the things that can do to your body is insane. Because what we don't often think about is how much underlying stress that causes for our nervous system. When you're in that state of fight or flight, when you're with a partner who doesn't make you feel safe, where you don't think you can voice your needs, you're worried that they might leave you or hurt you, then what this slowly does is it causes autoimmune problems, digestion issues, racing heart, and often, I hate to say it, but people do quite literally die, before they're meant to, because a lot of these physiological problems just keep building, because they're with a partner who doesn't reassure them. And so that's why, I take this job so seriously, because I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to just guide you into a relationship. I'm here to guide you so you can trust your gut. So that way you know that when you're with someone, they've got your back. You're feeling safe in that environment. Because if you're in an unhealthy relationship, I ain't celebrating that on my wall. Like, that's not what this is about.
Sometime this year, I was dating this guy and I was working through some issues. And I was such a nervous wreck that I had lost like 5 pounds in a week, because I was like in that fight or flight situation. And I have been there, and it is no fun. So going back to the safety, a lot of times where we can experience healthy relationships and experience safety is with our friendships. And I just had brunch with a couple of my girlfriends this weekend, and we were talking about that, how within our friendships, especially with women, we can divulge every part of our heart and soul and our minds to our friends, because it is safe. They know our hearts. They love us for, who we are. And it's really, and I'm talking about healthy friendships, right? Healthy friendships that there's unconditional love there. And that realm of safety that is embedded into the friendship is what allows us to be intimate, emotionally intimate, to have a deep connection. And really, when we are able to have healthy friendships and experience what that feels like, then we can multiply that and replicate it into our romantic lives.
Yes. That's exactly what I tell my clients as well. Like, you already know what the feeling of a healthy relationship is when you have friends. So all you need to do now is just be like, right, what are the qualities that they have that make you feel good?
Yeah.
You know, is it the fact that you're able to be vulnerable with them? You uphold and share boundaries with one another, and they're respected, they're not ignored. Are you able to have deep conversations where you feel safe to have them, and that information isn't going to be weaponized against you? You know, do you feel safe where you can talk about something with someone and they don't spin it back on you and go, you're confused, you sound crazy? Because this is something that also I want to add to that too, is that whilst we can replicate more of what we know, we have to be careful to evaluate our friendships as well, because our definition of healthy, unique to every one of us, could not be the same as, say, you and I, for instance, where we talk about, you know, being vulnerable. I don't, like, for example, with my closest gay best friends, we don't gossip. We're very intimate with strong boundaries, and we're very respectful of one another in the sense that we can talk about anything. And it's just a really great way to be like, well, if you exist, I know that there are many other men out there who should also aspire to have the same qualities of working on themselves, of growing on themselves. But if these are concepts that are alien, or you're just saying like, oh yeah, my friends do that, and you're still attracting more of the same sort of people that actually aren't healthy, then it's really time to do what I call a social detox, where you start to really think and reflect, okay, now how does this person make me feel when I'm with them? Does this friend give me a pit in my stomach too? Am I drained to be around them? Because just like a romantic relationship, you can get the same feedback from a friend.
Absolutely. Oh, Ken, I couldn't agree more. And one of the things that makes my life so exceptional is the fact that I have such an amazing friend group. And we are like-minded, we are committed to our friendship. And that is the foundational piece of a relationship, no matter what type of a relationship it is. If it's romantic, if it's family, if it's friends, whatever, that there is a mutual investment into the relationship and understanding and commitment that we are a team. I am going to love you with my whole heart. I'm going to treat you with respect and kindness. I'm going to keep myself with integrity, and so are you. And we are not perfect. There's times that I'm going to screw up, you're going to screw up, and I'm still going to love you, and we are going to work through it together because we are a team. And so often, especially in our romantic relationships, there's this weird competitiveness, which I don't understand, but I understand it. And it's, there's this great meme that said, like, it was something about my grandmother told me that we don't have problems, we work on problems together, or something like that. I did not do a good job translating that, but it's like, you and I are on a team, and whatever problems we have, we're going to work through them together. And it's really like you and I, not against the world, but against the world. And I think having that foundation of like, we're a team. Like, I had a good friend that used to tell me, you're stuck with me. You're stuck with me. So like, there's nothing that you could ever do to scare me or push me away. Like, I freaking love you and you're here forever.
Wow. Wow. And I think having someone actually say that to you can have such a profound impact on us, because, you know, I think with the power of hindsight, I'd look at someone like that and go, oh my goodness, I love you. I'm so grateful to have you in my life. But here's the litmus test for all of you listening to that. If that caused you a clench in your stomach, or you felt selfish for having someone say that to you, that's a sign you're probably in a very toxic social environment. Because if you've been groomed to believe that that is selfish, that it's too much, that, oh, that's a bit weird, then it's likely because you have a social environment where people are making you feel like you're being selfish for accepting, genuine, authentic connection. And when you go into relationships, even with someone who is secure, who, is clear with their communication, is good at articulating themselves, wants to be there for you and wants to support you, it can cause challenges, because if you're not ready to welcome that kind of person into your life, and it's no fault of your own because you're just not ready for it, oh boy, that's going to disintegrate real fast, because you're just in an environment which doesn't allow you to feel safe in that relationship as well. So that's why, we've got to be really careful of what our social environment is feeding us, because if we're in a toxic social environment where we don't feel safe in ourselves, or rather, we feel safe with the toxicity, when someone safe comes along, it's just like, I feel selfish for having this person love me. They're too much. Oh, it's weird having them be this close to me. And so we need to then really reevaluate and go, well, hang on, if this is supposed to be healthy, then what am I swimming in? Because it's clearly not adding up.
Great points. And so often when people are not happy with their love lives, a great place for them to look and to try to figure it out. A great place to figure it out is looking at their friendships, looking at their social circles, look at their relationship with their family members. And if they're saying, oh, I've outgrown my friends, or they don't understand me, or, whatever, like negative traits, or they don't have good relationships with their family, that's, like you said, the litmus test. That's the indicator that you might not be accustomed to having healthy relationships, first of all, and you're surrounded by people that aren't good for you. And that's a great time to look at yourself, and you're like, ooh, the common denominator is me.
Yep.
Like, who am I? What am I doing? How am I showing up in my relationships? And there is a lot to look through. And that can be a lot, and it can sound a little daunting. Yet the finish line is happiness, healthy relationships, all that good stuff. And it's vital to look at ourselves and how we are showing up in the relationships, and are we being good friends? Are we being good lovers? Gosh, you and I could go on and on about that. We can dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, oh man, like this is taking me back to a couple of years ago where even I was like a massive people pleaser. Like I would just be chasing people, wanting to hang out with people, saying yes to everything because I thought I'd be a bad friend if I didn't show up. And yet it was like, no, actually I'm being a bad friend because I'm giving people about 15 minutes of my time every time I show up somewhere. And it's hard to self-reflect. Like it's really hard to question ourselves because, the really painful adjustment, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, is going from what we know, which can be excitement, parties, going out, fancy trips, doing all these things, being a go-go-goer, having all these wonderful experiences, and then realizing that none of that serves you long-term. And that is a painful realization when you've got to be like, I value my inner peace more than any of that. I value, being with people who make me feel safe, where I'm calm. I'm not gossiping and talking about crap and ruminating and being constantly in a negative cycle where it's just draining. I actually value, quiet time, alone time. And I'm not talking like introvert, extrovert. I'm talking like you actually value just taking time for yourself to allow yourself to process your thoughts, to really listen to yourself, and just sit with yourself and embrace nothingness. Because when you can do that, you actually clear a lot of the clutter that's preventing you from embracing the healthier aspects that you can welcome into your life. Because as much fun as it was in my 20s, well, I'm turning 30 next week, as much fun as it was in my earlier 20s when I was just like going out, partying all the time, having fun on the weekends and doing all that sort of stuff, the fun, like any drug, is short-lived, and the hangover is long.
It is. And, it's like speaking like a true yogi, and you're talking about you got to be present and you need to be processing and, the universe revolves around you. You are the most important person, and you got to be making sure your mental health is on point, and your physical health is, and that you are taking good care of yourself, because without that, you can succumb to toxicity and all kinds of unhealthiness. And so yes, it's extremely important to be showing up and be taking care of yourself. And whew, that's because that's the most important relationship you have, is the one that you have with yourself.
I agree.
So I see my friend Ocean has another question. I adore you. Him and I have been friends for years, and he has a special place in my heart. So let's see, what is
Welcome his question, because I loved his last one. It was great.
Right? Where is the line between someone healthily loving you unconditionally and unhealthy clean? Okay, so whew, that is a great question, because for so many reasons. We do want to love people unconditionally, yet there is so much toxicity and unhealthiness. It's like, yes, how do you...
Oh, I've lost you again, Jessica. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, all good.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, sorry, I had a call come in. That's a great question. And that's a fine line to walk, because we do want to love people where they're at. And we might have talked about this last week, but I want to give this analogy. We will look at people we're in a relationship with, if it's our parents, if it's our lovers, if it's our friends, and we have needs which are normal. And we will look at people and we're like, okay, I need this much love from you, and then I need it delivered this way. Thank you. And with people, some people aren't going to be able to love us that much. And some people are not going to be able to love us in the way we want to be loved. So then we have a choice. Do we want to accept the amount of love and the type of love that they are giving us?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one thing that we have to figure out. And then we also have to look at the person that we are in relationship with. So again, whether it be family, friends, or romantic, we have to be very observant when it comes to that person. And yes, we can love them unconditionally. Yes, we can love them where they're at. Yes, we also have the decision to make if we're going to put up with their stuff. We could look at them and say, you know what? I love you with my whole heart, but I cannot accept you freaking out every other week and go psycho on me because you are justified in your feelings, blah, 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 blah. Like, this is not unhealthy for me. So I just gave some like random, scenario. So we have to decide, we have to be very observant and know this person, and then make the judgment call. That's really what it is. We have to make the judgment call if they are healthy, rational, good people. Oh, there's just a lot to comb through. Ken, take it away.
I agree with everything you said. I mean, the only thing I'd add to that is powerful word, boundaries. Like,
yeah,
you really need, I mean, I agree with Ocean here when you say so a love bartering of sorts. Kinda. In my answer, it's, okay, each of us will be able to tolerate certain amounts of things. Like, we're not all built the same way. So what we need to be mindful of is what's going to bring us back to inner peace and calm and safety. Like, that's the North Compass that I'm like, can we get there, please? And then, occasionally growth is added on there too, because that's important. But when it comes to making sure that you feel like you're working with someone where it's unconditional love and it's not too much, my answer is this. We need to make sure that we're not feeling overwhelmed. Because if we're feeling overwhelmed, and this goes back to our body, you're just kind of like, it is so much to be with this person right now. Like, I can feel just exhausted. That's a good gut signal that you then need to respond to that and say, hey, listen, this is an example of the boundary. I love you. I just need to let you know, when you get angry with me over the dishes every weekend and it erupts into what feels like a fight, it really does drain me. And I'd love if we can maybe communicate this out in a different way, because I really feel like it would help me better understand you and work through this with you and to take things from there. Now, I think we mentioned this last time, but we'll do it again. Boundaries. When you communicate that, you're going to get one of three kinds of responses. You're going to get the person who goes, okay, you're right, let's work through this. And they actually do, to their credit. They work through it, and your level of peace will go from overwhelmed to, okay, I'm feeling good again, and I can relax, and I can get close to my partner again. Amazeballs, life continues. Or you'll get the infamous other two responses where one person goes, you're right, I just want to stop fighting with you and I'll do what you say. Nothing changes. You're still fighting every weekend about the dishes. And then my favorite third option is they blow up at you. And this really goes back to what Ocean Fish was asking. Is like, well, how do you know if it's too much versus just on point? My answer is, if you're overwhelmed and you're just feeling, you're getting anxiety about the amount of overwhelm you're feeling and it's continuing, what is the reason that you continue to put up with this? Because someone might justify it and say, oh, don't you want my love? Don't you want to be with me? You don't love me. I'm sorry, that's gaslighting, which is also a form of abuse. And I don't care if that verbiage has come out of someone who is healthy but grew up in a narcissistic environment. You don't actually have to put up with that. So the reality is, it's up to you to decide how much is enough for you.
I love that. And thank you for bringing back around to I didn't answer his complete question as far as the clinginess and everything. And you and I have talked about the attachment styles before. And when we are feeling clingy or anxious or attached, it could come up like, why haven't they text me back? What's going on? It could be that bodily sensations we've been talking about. It can be like, well, I need. A lot of times we need to go, okay, just hold on here, pause. Why am I needing this from this person? What am I not getting right now? I'm like, okay, well, I'm not getting attention from them. I'm not feeling like I'm special. I'm worried that they don't like me, or they don't like me as much as I like them. And that's when it's a great time for us to take a pause and take a deep breath and say, okay, what do I need here? Because that's what's talking, really. When we're experiencing that clinginess, that anxiousness, we just need something. And a lot of times our needs are being met so we can communicate them, and it can come in the form of a boundary, or it can be what I call, you have to do some self-soothing, that you have to say, okay, I really want to hear back from them, but they haven't texted me back. I don't like this feeling. What can I do for myself? What can I do for me to quiet that need, to satiate that needs? Whew. And that's when we have to take care of ourselves and give ourselves what we're seeking.
I love that. And I think to add to that too, I would also say that it's really important to not only self-soothe, but also to be mindful of patterns of behavior. For example, if someone comes to me and they've said, oh, I've told my partner several times that I need this from them in order to get love and respect, and they still haven't done it, you don't need me to point out there's a problem. You've reached your barometer. That's I don't think much is going to change at that point, because the way you choose to show up, you continue to show up in that way. If you're continuing to do all technically the right things and nothing's changing, nothing's going to change. So you have to make that hard call for yourself. The other thing that came to mind as well when I was saying that is, this is going to sound like a very foreign concept. We all know we can't change people, but we can negotiate for things within a healthy relationship. Not everything, but within reason. We could, like when we have boundaries, if someone's willing to work with us to support the team, you know, like when you were saying, like, we're a team, we're in this together, we're here to fight for a common goal of love, happiness, joy, and all the other beautiful things. When you've got two people on the same page who are like, we value this relationship so much and we're actually willing to bend on this just to feel good, they'll do it. And you can deliver that in a very effective way, just being like, you know, look, I'm really, as you said, like if it's the clinginess thing and you feel like you're being the clingy one, it's like, listen, I really just need reassurance in this particular area of my life. I'd love it if you can do this for me. And if they can't, and it's not a deal breaker, then that really boils down to what fights are you willing to fight over? Because the reality is 69%, I think is the statistic, according to the Gottman Institute, of most negotiation and arguments are never going to be solved in the first place. So you've really got to decide for yourself whether, you know, you can actually get everything out of this, because the answer is you won't. You just need your non-negotiables met more than anything else, which I think for me, for instance, would be like a feeling of reassurance, safety, emotional availability, and the feeling that we can grow together.
I love that. I love that so much. And if I could just press pause and just give you some love and acknowledgement. So many things that you say stick with me, and I love that every time we talk, I get little nuggets of wisdom that I get to bring into my world. So thank you so much. And I love what you were saying about negotiating. And, you know, when you're on the same team and you do start negotiating a little bit, and that doesn't sound sexy, but it can be very sexy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just like going back to something that you said to me privately, and we talked about this. I'm still talking about this, Ken. I just talked about this on somebody else's show earlier, when you said to me, why are we so scared to say the things we really want to say?
Mm-hmm.
And so I bring that back to this negotiating thing, because so often there's things that we want to talk about, we want to ask for, we want to address, but we get so scared. And if we have that attitude of we're on the same team and we are going to be kind to our other person, or to our person that we're in a relationship with, then we can say a lot when it comes from a place of, when it comes from our heart, and when we can do it compassionately. So it could just be, gosh, I haven't heard from you all day, and I'm just feeling really pouty over here. Can you say something nice to me? You know, we can start to speak from the heart.
I love that you put it in that way, because I think what I love about that is it's such a playful way of negotiating. Like, it's such a non-confrontational way of just being like, you know, well, I guess I'm not seeing you for Christmas this year because I haven't heard from you all day. You know, it's that beautiful way of just being like playful within your relationship without being an asshole about it. You know, I think that sometimes when we hear of boundary setting, because people have been controlling in our past, we'll often have very, I want to say, didactic ways of communicating their needs. They're like, you need to do this, you need to do that, you're not good at this, you need to do that. And to be honest, the minute I hear the word you, my ego flares up and I'm in protection mode, and I'm like, oh, no thanks, I don't really want to do anything that you've just asked me to do, because I feel like I'm being ordered and I hate that feeling, so goodbye. But when you do it like the way you've done it there, I mean, it's cute, right? And you're also finding ways to negotiate with your partner in a way where it's, you know, I don't want to call it your love language, because I don't want to confuse that with the 5 love languages, but I mean, it's cute because you're just being very playful with one another. And do you want to be in a relationship where you feel like you're being ordered around all the time? Like, I personally don't. So I think this is just part of establishing your style of communication with your partner.
Definitely. And remembering the golden rule, do unto others as you want done unto yourselves. And
Yeah.
it's that simple. You know, if you're getting ready to say something, be like, ooh, do I want that said to me? Would I like to receive that text? Ooh, So that's a good barometer for behavior.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I think here's the other thing that I'd say about a healthy relationship. We almost want it to come pre-packaged. Like, when you see those adverts where they do a cooking show, they're going to tell you what they're going to make, they do the process of it, and then they're like, oh, and look, in the oven, I already have this one that was made 20 minutes ago, and I'm going to show it to you what it looks like. It's kind of like in dating, we're almost looking for the pre-packaged, healthy person in our life. We're like, oh, I just want you to be complete as you are. Not going to happen. Lower your expectations dramatically, because it's not going to happen. What you want is the thing in the oven. You want the pie that's on the way, because they may not have, the sexiest body. They may not have the most attractive job. They may not have all of that. And I'm not saying look for potential. What I'm saying is look for what they already have. Look for, things that matter to you. For me, I look for kindness, emotional availability, the person who can listen to me. One of my core non-negotiables is if I'm with a guy, I hate it when guys feel the need to solve my problems. Like if I'm down, I'm like, I've had a bad day with work. The last thing I need is someone to tell me, why didn't you do this for your boss? Why didn't you do this for your client? Why is X, Y, Z happening? And I'm like, I honestly don't care. Like, that's not what this is about. Yeah. I just need you to validate my feelings. But anyways, my point is that these skills, they're things that you either have or you don't. And you can't force someone with a lack of empathy to have a level of empathy. So at the end of the day, I think that's more important.
I agree. And going back to your cooking analogy, which I love, and so many people, as you are very aware of, will come to us and like, this is my list of requirements for a partner, which are beautiful. And just like a recipe, there are variables as far as you are one set of ingredients. The other person is another set of ingredients. And you guys together are going to make a specific type of cake, let's say. Mm-hmm. And, of course, you're looking for your non-negotiables, your must-haves, and there's a whole plethora of other things too that are special and unique because you are both special and unique. And to take that a little step further, there are also so many data points when it comes to dating. And, people come with that like list of 10 must-haves, and it's like, really, in actuality, there's like thousands, okay, maybe hundreds of data points that you're like, do they, these preferences and these things that it's not always cut and dry. And that's why the process of dating is so important, is so we, get to know all of those things. And on a different topic, just to throw this in here, because this is a little thematic in my life, is that, normalizing ending of relationships, that it's okay if you break up with someone, you end things with someone. If you're excited about someone, let me tell you, Ken, like the people in the dating world, the professionals in the dating world, some of my freaking smartest friends will be like, I'm going to marry this man. And then 6 weeks later, they're like, oh my God, I am never talking to this man again. And so just a little side note that we're not assigning shame, guilt, and judgment to people that are ending relationships.
No, and I love that you said that too, because to add to that, this is something that I actually came up with for myself. And it was inspired by my coach, Josh Massey, when he said to me, it was about business. He was like, everything has a season, including the stages of our businesses. But then I took it to mean another meaning in the realm of relationships, which is some relationships are not here forever. And the minute that you remove the word forever from your vocabulary, you actually accept things for what they are. Some relationships where you think, I'm going to marry this person, will give you a great message or lesson within 6 weeks, and you'll be like, and we're done. And that's okay. I think we get so fixated on the end goal that we're forgetting what's happening in the present. And sometimes some people were just not meant to be in our life for longer than a couple of weeks. And that's okay. okay. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean that you're a terrible human being. It doesn't mean that you're never going to find love. It just means learn to accept the seasonality of all the people that come into your life and the messages that they're bringing to you.
Yes, I love it.
TED Talk over.
TED Talk over. Mic drop. We out.
Because I think you're right. Like, I think that we have so much shame around, dating and relationships. I mean, I have some. I'm not going to lie. Like, when I'm rejected, I'm like, ugh. And I journal about it. I feel the feels because that's healthy. Like, I'm not saying that I'm immune to rejection.
Yep.
But I think that we need to become more accepting that summer is here for a total of 3 months.
Yep.
And it turns into the next season. I nearly forgot what that was, actually. I was thinking winter, and I forgot autumn. Anyways, my point is, we don't chase summer in the winter. We accept winter for what it is.
I love that. You're spot on. And something too that helps me, that can seem a little callous, but it helps me to not be so attached or to assign judgment and shame, is that really most relationships have an expiration date.
Yes. Yes.
And
yes.
As soon as you know that it's going to expire at some point, then you can be present to win. You can enjoy. You can learn the lessons, ride the rides, and then when the date comes, or when the expiration date comes, then you're okay with letting it go.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the one thing I'd say to complement what you've added there is that we need to be mindful not to be so trigger happy on the break the relationship button, in the sense that there'll be opportunities to grow. But if those opportunities aren't present and you just don't feel like it's possible, like you've tried everything, then it's okay to be honest and then press the button.
Yeah. Yep. Dating is a fun adventure, isn't it, Ken?
It's like having a mirror shoved up your face.
Oh, one of my friends was like, it's like a jungle safari. It's like, sometimes it's beautiful. Other times you're like being chased by a lion. You never know. You never know what's going to happen.
You never know what's going to happen. But you know what, though, Jessica? Like, I think that genuinely, I enjoy dating. Like, I mean, I even enjoy online dating because I like meeting people, because sometimes I learn such valuable lessons about myself in the process that I treat it like a self-growth opportunity, not a, well, you're going to be rejected. Oh, no, what if the next guy's going to be terrible? It's like, well, maybe they will be, but who cares? Like, like, it's honestly, when you take the deal out of it, like when you stop treating it like a big deal and you just go, I'm here to have fun. I'm here to learn. Oh, and this person's really making me feel good. Yay. Like, that's exciting. And I think when it comes to finding a healthy relationship, honestly, get clear on what you want and also how you want to feel in that relationship too. And if you've got, one of my clients beautifully said, I don't feel like I've ever been with a healthy relationship. And like you, I said, well, look to your friends. That's a template. And look to other people who appear to have the relationship that you aspire to want to have too. Because I think that whilst we all might want differences here and there, if a couple that appears to have really great qualities and the ability to work together and to work through their crap, work through the muck, I mean, hey, I'm all about having something like that. So at the back of my mind, that's what I'm after.
Yeah. Yes, finding good relationships to model, and I agree with you that I use my love life as, I see it as a spiritual journey, and everyone is teaching me a lesson, and I think it's fun. I mean, sometimes it's hard, and sometimes it's not beautiful, and we just roll with it and we learn from it.
I think so. And I think, one thing I would say, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too, Jessica, but if truly a relationship is just the cherry on the cake, or the icing, if you will, it's pretty good to be single because you've got a lot of stuff going for you. I mean, and if you don't feel good single, what's the reason for that? What belief you know, what inside of you doesn't feel good about it. Because I can tell you, like, I've been single for a very long time, and honestly, I love it. Like, it just feels wonderful to be able to regulate myself, to do the things that I want to do, and not need someone to do the things that I had. I tell you what, it's going to be ironic if I'm with a partner by next week, but like, but what I mean is that, you know, when you get to that place of comfortability being single, I think a lot of things that we fear, oh, I'm going to die alone, I'm going to like be old, I'm going to not be lovable, it starts to fade away because you just don't care about it as much anymore. And you're like, oh, dating is this little hobby that I can do for fun. And if it adds extra value to my life, hooray.
I love that. Oh, yes. And in all seriousness, and to give just some tough love, that if someone needs to have a relationship and they don't like their life, absolutely 100% stop dating. Stop dating, because there is a whole nother body of work that you need to be doing, because your love life is never going to be good until you are goods, till your life is goods. TED Talk over.
Give us a stage. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Oh man, I feel like that could be a topic onto itself, because, you know, you're so right. I mean, I really do feel this could be a topic on its own. Like, you know, are you dating out of loneliness? Are you dating because your life sucks right now? Because I tell you what, that is absolutely right. Do not date when your life is shit, because there's only one person that can save you, and that's you. And consciously, we're like, oh yeah, I know I can save myself. Haha, try that when you're out dating, subconsciously looking for someone who has the money, the job, the love, the sex, the everything to make you feel better. Because at the end of the day, it won't.
That's right. That's right. I think we should talk about that next time.
All right. I think that's a great way to wrap this up and to say that. But to just as a final question to you, Jessica, just to round this off. So say someone has come to you for the first time and like, Jessica, I've never had a healthy relationship. What should I do? What advice would you give them?
Ooh, well, I would ask them, who do they have healthy relationships with right now? And you used the word before that I loved, template. Use that as the template. So if it's, you have a good relationship with your grandmother, okay, what makes that a good relationship? Oh, my grandmother, she nurtures me, she loves me, she takes care of me, we have great conversations. Okay, my best friend is my ideal relationship, or the best relationship I have. Okay, what makes it good? Well, we take care of each other, we look out for each other, we hear each other, we make space for each other, we get excited to see each other, we gift each other things. And you can start to, as you using your word, use those relationships as a template and then apply them to your life. And this might not sound sexy, but you can really just sit down and say, okay, I'm looking for an amazing partner. First, I need to make sure that I am an amazing partner. So how am I an amazing partner? Well, I'm going to be there to listen to someone. I'm going to be a great listener. I am going to give my love freely, unconditionally. I am going to learn how to speak other love languages, and really start asking yourself how you can be a good partner is a second place. So using your healthy current relationships as a template, and then asking yourself how you can be a good partner.
I love that. I love that. I think that's so true. And I think, you know, I love it when you say, this isn't going to sound sexy. I actually want to say to everyone, the honesty about this is that none of this is sexy. Like, the more you try to make it sexy, welcome the narcissists. Welcome the emotionally unavailable people. Because I'm not even joking. Like, they thrive off making things look sexy. But the reality is, they are not healthy relationships. But on the flip side, to not make that sound so disappointing, when you're with someone who you love, who, you know, wants to be with you and wants to cherish the time with you, oh boy, it may not start out sexy, but it gets there. And it's sort of like taking the high road. You can take the low road and have amazing sex at the beginning that turns into sadness, heartbreak, and abuse. Or you can take the high road, build the foundation, and enjoy just so much, just continuously improving the sex as you go over time. Because sex is not built on just physical chemistry, it's built on love. If you truly appreciate your partner and you're both really into one another, not just in the beginning, but over time, and you're working through stuff, oh boy, you don't need, someone who's a master in the bed for that. The chemistry will come over time, but it shouldn't be the first thing you look for.
Remember that. I'm going to remember that too.
Me too. It's not easy, but it gets better over time.
It sure does. It sure does. And I think that's just a reassignment of values, right? You're going to value certain things over other things. So, Ken, thank you so much. I just freaking adore you. And I am so thankful that we can do our lives. And I'm so thankful for our friendship too.
Likewise, I absolutely adore you too, Jessica. I can't tell you how much my body is on positive fire from this conversation. It's just yes, I want to speak to you again now as well, because it's been about a month since our first live that we did together too. So I think with that in mind, I would love obviously to go live with you again, and to talk about loneliness and dating, because that's a topic that I actually haven't touched on before with anyone. And I think that it's quite oh boy, that's worthy of a good conversation, I feel, which would be great. And lastly, to you and to everyone watching, I'm actually doing a masterclass next week on my Friday in Australia, Thursday for those of you in the United States at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be all about why anyone, attracts emotionally unavailable partners, what they need to learn about how to attract secure, committed partners. And it's really aimed to the high achievers out there, the people who are coaches, entrepreneurs, business owners, who find themselves constantly going, working 40 hours a week, and who want to actually learn how to start working less rather than more, and also silencing that inner critic they have in their head. And for those of you listening, you might think, oh, well, that doesn't seem to relate to relationships. Believe me, it does, because when you've had an upbringing that's groomed you for that, you're going to think that you're unsuccessful throughout a lot of your life until you learn to let that go. And that also can impact your dating, because you're treating it like something to win and to impress someone. And that's what keeps you stuck. So anyways, that's my invitation to everyone, including yourself.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for doing the work that you're doing in the world. There's something in me that it feels good that you're on the other side of the world, taking care of that side of the world. So I'm I got this side, you got that side, Ken. Go team.
Thank you. No, I agree. Although I have to say, I'm thinking of coming up to the United States next year. So we'll be able to, combine forces, Captain Planet style, and really help change the world.
I love it. Oh, well, thank you so much. And thank you for everyone who tuned in.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. You were a great audience. Loved talking to all of you too. And lastly, Jessica, so when I go to put this on my Instagram, where can people find you?
Oh, people can find me at jessicasmith.love. So that's my Instagram handle. That's also my website. Slide into my DMs if you want to work with me or, want more information. And yeah, that's how you find me. jessicasmith.love.
That's how I found you.
I'm so glad you found me.
And then for those of you from Jessica's side, I'm at ken.reid, REID.co, and I'm a holistic healing coach doing, as Jessica said, my own healing for my audience down under, but also working with clients all over the world. So anyways, that's me. Jessica, thank you. You have made my Thursday morning so much fun, and I'm going to take this energy with me into my work now. I hope that you and your amazing community have an excellent rest of your afternoon and evening.
Thank you so much, Ken. Sending you big hugs.
Likewise. Speak to you later, Jessica.
Okay, bye, Ken.
Bye-bye.